Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler-kun channel. Welcome to your first ever match review. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are not reviewing just a wrestling show. We're reviewing an actual wrestling match and only a wrestling match. I want to try and make a new series where I go in depth about what makes a match really good. And I figure what a better place to start than a match I've been really excited to see, and that is a match that is happening at Defiant Wrestling. It just happened at Defiant Wrestling, and that is PAC versus David Starr. Now, of course, as you guys would expect, I've been a WWE fan for a very long time, so I've been following Neville since his NXT days, he being an independent star now and going over and wrestling in different companies. I've been trying to keep up with that guy, and he's just amazing at everything he does. And David Starr is one of the more underrated independent stars in the world right now. Very underrated. I think a lot of people definitely have to keep their eyes out on him, as I think he could definitely and realistically be signed by AEW very soon if they want a top talent onto the roster. So when I heard the match was announced on Twitter, I was actually very excited for it. I was upset I had to wait a few weeks for it to come about, but I knew as soon as I had a day off, I had to sit down and watch this match. So now I'm just now getting around to it. In this review, I'm going to be going through 4 to 5 different categories to tell you guys why the match was either trash, bad, meh, decent, good, great, must watch, or amazing. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's start with the build-up. The build-up was pretty simple. David Starr goes into the office of the GM of Defiant Wrestling, wanting a world title shot. GM brings up the fact that David Starr has basically lost all his opportunities and is unworthy of one. After a bit of a play from David Starr, GM then says, David Starr, I'll give you another shot. I'll give you another opportunity if you could defeat PAC. You'll be put into consideration for a title match. The following week, both men cut their own promos on each other, which really was nothing overly special. Now, as a new viewer, I think none of this would do anything for you. You would just be going into it for the ride. There's really nothing to gain from any of the build-up to these matches. So overall, there was nothing really overly special about the build-up to this match. Now, if you were someone who knew of PAC's work as Neville in WWE, or his work in New Japan Pro Wrestling as PAC, or his work overall in independence before WWE as PAC, and if you knew of David Starr's body of work, then this match kind of just sells itself. I'll give this a pass though, because not every single match has to have some elaborate storyline. It was straightforward and to the point, which is this is what you have, this is what you want. In order to get it, this is what you have to do. And there's something to just appreciate about that. Amidst the entrances, I did appreciate David Starr's entrance, as you could tell by his facial expressions on his way to the ring, and even in the ring, it just seemed like he had a huge chip on his shoulder. Wrestling someone with such a refined resume as PAC, it truly felt like a make or break situation for David Starr. PAC's entrance was electrifying, with the crowd popping loud for his homecoming return and rising to their feet as he came out. PAC was definitely soaking in the moment of being in his hometown, and it overall made it feel like a much bigger deal. Which leads us to Act 1. The first few minutes of the match were basically them embracing the crowd and taking in all the crowd support they were both receiving, letting the crowd chant and all that good stuff. In the beginning, they had some nice beginning sequences and not overly serious moves, but you know, you've seen a bunch of independent wrestling matches where the guys exchange some blows, they do their acrobatic stuff, and they stand off and the crowd claps. They did a few of those. However, unlike most of these standoffs, they didn't go on too long, and as soon as PAC saw all the opportunity, he took David Starr into the outside and hit with a moonsault, and that's where the wrestling really started. Both men kept a steady pace throughout, with PAC keeping the aired advantage for most of the act, while David Starr managed to keep him off the ground as much as possible, having to use his all-rounded ability and great defensive wrestling, knowing there's a strength and speed advantage on PAC's end. So David Starr had to incorporate some mat wrestling in here as well, which I think made for some really good storytelling, if you're able to touch up on those little nuances. At times, it would seem like David Starr had control, but PAC would seem to weasel his way out of the situation once he gave him with the speed advantage. After seemingly getting tired of being stood up for about a few minutes, David Starr finally got a burst of energy and laid out PAC with a nice series of moves, leading with a heavy lariat onto PAC for the first big 2 count of the match, which leads us into Act 2. The match seemed to steadily move a little bit faster. It didn't really go super fast, and I thought the storytelling was just very consistent, and that made for a nice flow of the match. That leads us to the finish. David Starr was starting to get that burst of energy again. He was looking to go for a Canadian Destroyer, I guess, and which he got launched right into the referee. Referee gets taken down. PAC gets up to his feet, kicks David Starr right in the dick, then manages to hit the Black Arrow onto him for the pin. PAC winning the match. And as long as David Starr is supposed to be getting a sympathetic babyface push out of this, that's fine. I think it was a bit upsetting that the match seemingly ended in a dirty and anticlimactic finish. This match could have benefited for a few more minutes, and honestly, just a clean finish overall. After the match, the Defiant champion Rampage, title in hand, walked past PAC, came to the ring, gave David Starr his props, his respect, and a title shot at Unstoppable, to which David Starr hopped on the mic, told him to fuck off. I don't need your pity or your respect, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you at Unstoppable. basically the gist of what he said. Overall, the match itself is nothing special. I think I had my expectations a little bit too high for this match. I've seen better performances for both men, and it did have some good storytelling elements, and it did do a good job of making you get behind David Starr going into this title match at Unstoppable, so I will give it that. At the end of the day, it's not a match you have to go out of your way to see, but if you have time to watch a Defiant wrestling match or show, I would say check this one out. Or possibly looking into the Defiant wrestling show Unstoppable, I would definitely check out this match if you have some free time. And yeah, guys, that was my match review of David Starr versus PAC. What did you guys think? And what did you guys think about this review? What did you guys think of this format? Let me know what you guys think down below. If there's any other match you guys want me to review, comment down below. And yeah, I love you guys as always, and I'll talk to you later. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and share, and peace out.